Alright, so in a previous video I made this little plate for some sensors that read an infrared soccer ball for students that use the OneBot robot. And now I'm going to show you how you can kind of play around with this and make some assemblies with it and make some cool things. So if you just wanted it to print and cut out on either 3D printer or cut out on a laser cutter, you can look at this video here, or you can continue on and I'll show you how to make assemblies. Okay, and so one thing that's kind of nice to do before you even start is to rename the part here. I'm going to call it IR soccer plate or something like that. Okay, so that's been renamed, and we can put it into an assembly. Okay, so an assembly is just an assembled masses of different parts, and here we go. And what we can do is we can insert the IR soccer plate that we just created. It's all in the same file. So you click and it places it in the workspace. So you can click OK, and there it is. It's the same as the part. But what we can do over here is we can add other parts to it. For example, I can go and insert assemblies from other documents. Okay, recently opened, for example. Yeah, I want to say maybe I want to put in the little mount here. So I'm going to grab, why don't I have that? Oh, it's assemblies. There it is. So other document assemblies, I click on chassis mount and I can just move that over here for later use. I can come back to other documents, recently opened again. I choose my line follower assembly. So I need 3 of those. So there's 1, and then 2, and then 3. I'm going to show you how we can put them all onto the board. And then lastly, I need a spacer. So a little small spacer here. I need 3 of those as well. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Notice that these are all colored to kind of indicate what they are, and I can do that here. I can go back to the Part Studio, right-click on the soccer plate, and go to Edit Appearance, and I can make it, some color, all right? So kind of woodish color, something like that. Press the checkbox, and now if I go back to Assembly, what's cool is that boom, it's already uploaded. It's already changed. So if I change the part, it changes it in the assembly. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to put these guys on the plate. Okay, and this is just cosmetic, but it does actually help you before you spend time and materials to cut to make sure that your piece is going to work. So what we want to do is we're going to mate these, okay, to the board in such a way that they don't move. So we're going to use this, the easiest one is the fastened mate. Okay, we're going to use this guy. So the first thing I want to do is I want to put these little white spacers here over the holes, okay, so we can elevate the line following sensor, and to get it so that the resistors on the back, these are not great resistor drawings, but there they are, representations of the resistors, so that these resistors aren't sitting on the plate itself. So we're going to use spacers to move that away. All right, so here we go. Here's how to do it. Let's see here, I'm going to be doing a lot of rotating, so I do that with my right mouse button. I want this bottom piece here to mate with this top piece here. Okay, and I want the holes to be concentric, so I'm going to grab the fasten mate, I'm going to zoom in with my zoom wheel, and you can see that little orientation is pointing down. That's what I want. Okay, I could choose a different face, but I want this little circle, boom, right there. So that is ready to be mated to this part right there. Boop. Okay, there they are. I mate, I press the checkbox, and we are good. That is now fastened to it. I'm going to do that 3 more times. Again, I want to grab the bottom of this guy here, and I will try to get the orientation. Boom. Okay, and there may be easier ways to do this. I'm kind of a beginner, but this is how it works for me, and class begins in a few hours, so I need to get on the move. Okay, so here we go. Boom. So now, if I move the plate, those 3 spacers are going to come with me. All right, we're going to do the same thing here. I'm going to grab the bottom, that little hole of the sensor, and I want to mate it to the top hole up here. Okay, and press the checkbox, and you can see that the tolerance is really close. You can see there's a little bit of daylight there, but now I know that when I build this, that spacer is going to work for me. Okay. Also, I can see here that the tolerance for the little plugs that plug in here at the end of the sensor, that's also going to work. Okay, it's going to be tight, but it's not going to bind, which is what you want. Okay, do it 2 more times for the other 2 sensors. Boom. And we're going to mate it to the top there. Okay. You got to press the checkbox to say yes, that is good, and do the fasten mate 1 more time. Here, boom, boom. Okay. So far so good. Now, what we want to do now is I want this face here to go into the slot here. Okay, so I'm going to fasten the middle of this plate. You can see here there are a lot of faces here. There are a lot of corners and edges and things like that that you can try to fasten to, but I want that face, and you see how that blue arrow is pointing up, that blue line, that's what I want. Okay, and now I'm going to come over here and I'm going to kind of move around until there it goes right there. Boom. Okay, I press OK. And now that guy is mated there. And so now we can sort of see what all this looks like. Okay? Kind of cool, right? And so without even fabricating it, you can tell you know, what this is going to look like. Now, you might, you know, my students may think, oh, 6 inches, that's a lot of material. Maybe I want it a little bit smaller, or maybe I want it a little bit bigger, or maybe, you know what, this may drag the ground. This may be so low that it drags the ground. Fear not. All you have to do is come and change your part. Okay? So notice that here it's 6 inches apart, 6 inches, and I think we said it's 2 inches wide this way, 2 inches down. If we don't like those, we can come back to the Part Studio, double-click on the plate sketch, and now all we have to do is, if we want to, we can change this dimension, double-click on that dimension, and make it be 4 inches. Okay? Because everything was constrained, it's all brought in around the center. And then here, I forget exactly the size we need, but something like 1.2 inches, I think, is plenty. We can go find out. Okay, so now it's made a little bit smaller. Press the checkbox to accept it. Come over here to the assembly, and notice it took a little time to recalculate, and you know, now it's a little bit less material, but everything moved due to the, you know, even after the changes were made. So I think 2 inches is fine, or 1 point, whatever it was, 1.2 inches is fine. There's plenty of clearance there. We could make it a little bit smaller. Let's see what happens if we make it too small. I don't know what's going to happen. Let's see what happens. So again, double click on the plate. We're back in the Part Studio. Let's see if we make this be something like 0.8 inches. Okay, it looks fine, right? There's nothing wrong with it here. But what happens when we go to the assembly? Ah, now we can see that this is not going to work, right? Because the sensor is going to get jammed into this part, and so now we can see here that that's not going to be good. Okay, and so we just come back out here. Maybe we change it to 1.1 inches. It was 1.2. We could make it be 1.1, and let's see if that's good. You know, at some point you don't really care if it's super, super tight. That looks pretty good to me. Right? And as long as your measurements are precise, then this is a pretty good estimation of what the actual thing is going to look like. Kind of nifty, huh? Anyway, that's kind of, oh, that's not actually it for assemblies. I do want to show you one more cool thing. Over here on the side, you've got this explode view. Okay? And what we can do is we can add an exploded view. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here. Let's see if I can move out and zoom in around again. Okay, so I'm going to click on this guy, and I'm going to grab that little outside arrow. See that little arrow there? I'm going to grab that arrow. I'm going to drag it out in this direction. I'm going to do the same here and do the same there. I just click. Okay. Okay, and so now I'm done with this one. So I'm going to press the explode step 1. I'm going to give a checkbox like I'm happy with that. I'm going to click off, and that will unhighlight these guys here. Now let's do the same for the little spacers. So I'm just going to pull those out maybe halfway, click and click to do the same there. I'm happy with that. I press a checkbox. Let's do the same. Let's do the same here. Okay. Now, let's see. So I'm going to grab here. Now, for some reason, these guys, whenever I made this, or earlier in my career with OnShape, apparently these were not fastened together. These were not mated. So I need to do that and do that again, and so now I can check. Okay, but they should have been mated, I think. All right, so we are done editing Explode 1, and so there it is. So if we ever wanted to see that again, all we have to do is double-click on Explode 1, and now we can get a better view. We can scroll around and take a look. I just think that is so much fun, and we can see the different parts of our assembly. All right, so we say done, and again, if we ever wanted to edit this part, it's in the plate sketch and the plate sketch. Okay, and we can change these values. Again, my students should not change these because these match with the mate that goes on your robot, and you should not change this value, the 0.15 value, because that tolerance is pretty tight to get the wires over the sensor, to get the wires of the sensor over the edge of the plate. Okay, I think that is it. And if we wanted to, we could rename this assembly. I should just put the last thing, IR soccer sensor full assembly, something like that. So in case we wanted to make a robot, make a one-bot in OnShape, we could then grab this whole full assembly and then stick this entire assembly onto the one-bot robot. Pretty nifty, huh? Okay, so I hope this was helpful. If so, let me know, and if not, let me know what would have been more helpful. Y'all take care. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.